אוקיי. פסוק כ"ז. פרק ו' כ"ז. היחטא איש אש בחיקו. Would the man put gahalim, right? Amber, boiling amber, under his balsam and not get burnt? ובגדיו לא תשרפנה, and his clothes will not get, right? will not get, היחטא איש אש בחיקו, ובגדיו לא תשרפנה, and his clothes will not get burned. Says the Gaon, עד כאן אמר במצוות, ועכשיו אומר במידות. Until now, שלמה המלך was talking about actions. Now he's going to use the Mishalim to address the midot. Why? This is because the midot are called begadim. They're called clothes. The Gaon addresses it in Shira Shirim at length on the pasuk Pashati et kutonti. I took out my kutonet, my robe. Yeah. Because the beged, why is the midot called beged? Because the midot, they come to dress up the personality of a person. Right? They're add-on. Yeah, you have your nature, you have the body, and you have your neshama, and the midot, they come as an add-on to the behavior and identity of the person. And there are two types of midot. You have the midot that are natural, essential, that the person is born with, and then you have the secondary midot, the midot that the traits that the person picks up from his surrounding, right? That's called the second nature. Chazal is a midot comes from the word midah. Midah is a measure. Just like clothes are made to measure, right? So too midot, they are measures. They come and they are measured to the purpose of the person. That's what they call midot. Chachamim, they say, Ezeu Talmid Chacham, who is the Talmid Chacham? Kol sheyachol la'afoch chaluko elofsho kedarko. Anyone that can take his chaluk, his clothes, right, turn it upside down and wear it. What does that mean? The Talmid Chacham is the one that can take his clothes, meaning his midot, and turn them upside down in order to wear it properly. What does it mean to wear it properly? To adapt the midot, to the derech HaTorah, to the proper way. So that's the Talmid Chacham. So he take his clothes, right, and he can turn it around and wear it properly. That's the Talmid Chacham. That's the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat. So the Gaon explained, what does that mean? The Talmid Chacham is someone that can take his clothes. What's his clothes? Meaning his midot, and turn them and work them, turn them around right? And wear them and apply them now, the midot, right? They are applied in his life, kedarko, properly, like the derech HaTorah. So he says, the one that the midot that the person is born with, these are called begadim. And the ones that he picked up along the way, the second nature, are called regalim, his legs. Hergel, the one that he took has hergel as a habit, comes from the word regel, right? It's the same shoresh. So he says like this. ish esh beheko. Now it's referring to the ta'ava. What is heko? What is the hek? What is the hek? Huh?
The chek is, I think it's chek is his tava.
Yes. Yes. Nachon.
His tava. Is it
Nachon.
referring to the woman?
It's referring to, yes. So he says that now, when do you inside the hek? Where it's happening? Where is it referring to?
Brit.
Huh?
Brit.
No, meaning it's internal. It's in his home. It's within him, right? It's when you hug, right? The nochria. When do you express that? Internally, like you said. When a person embraces the ta'ava, not only that he loses the midot, the good midot that he picked up along the way, but even his nature, the good that is naturally within him, also he loses. Because now the good nature will be exchanged, will be transformed by the hergel, by the behavior of the bad. And the word tisrefena, lo tisrefena, he says, and a person like this that embraced the ta'ava to a point that it took over his begadim, it took over his nature. And burned him, like consumed the good. He said the lotis refena, meaning if he wants to actually, there's two pirushim to lotis refena. One is he will get burnt, right? The other lotis refena, if he wants to get out of it, he has to burn himself, meaning he has to break himself totally. to be able to free himself from the ta'avot. And there's no possible outcome, positive outcome, without a complete internal destruction of what he has built for himself through the ta'avot.
So in essence, it's saying that the Gaon is saying that you need to restart, burn everything that you've done.
Correct. You have to break everything that has been built and rebuild from scratch. And there will be nothing left out of him, right? Think about it. Because he started with midot, right?
He lost them.
Lost all of them because of the ta'ava. Replace them with a second nature that is fed by the ta'ava. Now, if you want to get rid of that, and you burn it out, and you break it completely, what are you left with at the end? With nothing. Because what you were born with is gone. What you've acquired, you've just destroyed. This is the collateral damage of the ta'ava. So the most dangerous aspect of the ta'ava, when you think about it, is that it consumes and destroys your true nature. Essentially, the tools that were given to you by Hashem to fulfill your purpose. So if you don't have that now, how will you fulfill your purpose?
Can we also understand Shlomo Melech's pasuk here as like a rhetorical question? It's like, how could you even think that if you allow your ta'avot to take over you, that you will not end up with nothing?
Yes, Nachon. It is a rhetorical question. Can a person, right, take fire and put it in his bosom, and he's not going to get burned? He's not going to burn himself, right?
Can he embrace ta'ava and not get burnt?
Right. And what does it mean and not get burned? And not destroy his own essence, his own nature. Nachon, it is a rhetoric question.
Okay.
That's regarding ta'ava. Im yehaler ish al gehalim. Can a man walk on burning
Coals?
Lo tikavena, and he's not going to get burned. His foot is not going to get burned. His feet are going to, right? So he says, Hu neged hemda. This is referring to greed. Why? He said because this is referring to what? To holech. Halicha, who always goes? Like the Gaon tells us, who's always on the go? The guy that is consumed by greed. He says such a person is always going and looking and trying to do more things, thinking that he's, it's for the right reason. What does it mean, raglav? He says such a person, because he's always on the go, never really has time to reflect and think and evaluate evaluate his position and the place he's in. So even the things that were a habit to him, because he's always on the movement, he loses. That's the raglav, that's the hergelim. So he says, and because they're not his nature, it's only second nature, he's going to lose that very fast.
Lose what? All the midot that he
picked up along the way as a second nature, that it could be used as a shields of protection or traits to better himself, these are out of the window right away. And he explains, and he says, usually, what are those hergelim? Says usually those behaviors, those habits, is to wake up at a certain hour, to eat a certain way, right? To create a balance and a level of harmony around you for you to be productive, right? A level of routine. You build a certain behavior to be proper with your surrounding. You learn to talk a certain way, to refrain yourself from saying certain things. Your behavior gets leveled based on your environment. All all this you pick up along the way because of the social influence. Somebody in the black behaves a certain way. Somebody in Great Neck behaves a certain way, right? So he says, the moment the greed kicks in and the person starts going all over, he's not anchored anymore, right? Because he's consumed by the fear of missing out, of what he needs to get. So now everything is built around in his life to be socially correct and proper. That would be an equilibrium for his life. Right away is out the window. And what is he left with? With his nature. So what do we see? We see that the in Pasuk Kazazayin, we learn that what? That the ta'ava destroys the nature of the person, right? And the chemda destroys the second nature, the, the, the habits. So this is the direct attack and damage the ta'ava and the chemda, right? The desire and the greed have on midot. Ken haba al eshet re'ehu. It's the same thing for the one that sleeps with his friend's wife. Lo innake anogea ba. Whoever touches her will not be spared from punishment. Says the Gaon, Pasuk Kaftet, says we pay attention that Shlomo Melech says the wife of your friend, not Eshet Nochi, not the wife of a stranger. It doesn't matter if it's a married wife, it's a married wife, right? Why does it make a difference if it's the wife of your friend versus the wife of a stranger? So he says the Hemda the greed is considered haba el eshet re'ehu. It's considered as if you've broken the trust of your friend. What does that mean? You had something and you went from something that doesn't belong to you. That's the greed. So the greed is considered as if you were unfaithful.
Wow.
And went and took your, not just a wife, your friend's wife. And the greed is not just nogea, the abal esheti. It's a real sin, right? Says the Gaon, the word lo yinakeh of the Ramba of Shlomo HaMelech goes for both cases. You have to read it. Ken abal eshet re'ehu lo yinakeh, right? He will not be spared unpunished. And then you have to read lo yinakeh kol hanogea ba. And the one that touches her also will not be unpunished. It says lo yinakeh kol hanogea ba is referring to the ta'ava. It says the ta'ava is worse than the greed. Why? Because the greed is the bad of the bad. And the ta'ava and the desire is the good of the bad. And the God already told us a few times that the good of the bad is worse than the bad of the bad. Why? Because the bad of the bad is identifiable. You know it's bad. Right? But the good of the bad is worse. Why? Because it hides as good, but it's really bad. So you don't have as much guard from it. You don't guard yourself from it.
She's saying the touch
It's
without
worse. Exactly.
without the haba is worse
Exactly.
than
Exactly. The collide, the damage of the touch, right, is as bad as the intimacy of the haba.
Wow. And it's not just haba, it's haba eshet chavero, and the nogea is still talking about eshet rehu, or just
No, so in that case, they're both eshet re'ehu.
both eshet rehu.
They're both considered. You have the isha zara and the eshet re'ehu. They're both forbidden women, right? But he's saying Abba eshet re'ehu, which is the hemda lo yinakeh, right? Why? Because you're going for something that's not yours, and that's the greed. What is greed? Is you go for something that's not yours, and you don't appreciate what you have.
Okay. And then the ta'ava.
The ta'ava is afilu is also is what the ishazara is what you're not is she asura, right? Ta'ava is given to the goya, to the goyim, right?
Okay.
That's the world of Esav. Esav was given olam hazeh, right?
Okay.
And nogea, if you the fact that you touch it already, it's the sin. Meaning once you touch, yeah.
What can we compare this to a practical application? Not a woman. Can you give me like a practical application on our lives?
What he wants to say is the following. Let's say we understood, we defined what greed is, right? Is when you turn superficial into essential. Okay. And when you go for something that's really, when you want something that is really not in your line of access, right?
Ta'ava is when you start justifying.
No, ta'ava, it starts pure. It starts for a good reason, right? There is an existential need for the ta'ava to reproduce, to eat, to stay healthy, right? But the moment you slip and you start, okay, wanting things to fill your ta'ava versus using your ta'ava to exist. Do you exist to fill in your ta'avot, or do you use your ta'ava to exist? The ta'ava was given for you to exist, okay? The problem is that the moment you use the ta'ava beyond your existential needs, now you start existing for the ta'ava, right? So when it comes to the greed, to the hemda, right? When your greed takes over, so you go after things that really are not needed and essential. This guy has I don't know. This guy has this. It's okay. This guy has this. So I'm going to go after it also. Now, what just happened? You left what you have to get something else that you saw by someone else. So now you're engaged in your trajectory just shifted. And instead of focusing on growing what you have, you start investing in a path to get something that you don't have just because someone else has it, just because it's important. So you let go of what you own and what you have and your chelek, and now you're invested in another path for another chelek. But
you're going to lose what you had.
So we're going to get to what you lose. But that's the greed. We're going to get to the collateral. Now he's saying you just get, this person doesn't go, this behavior doesn't go unpunished. And we're going to see what it means unpunished. Right? But what just happened? You're now invested in a path of someone else, and you've let go of your own path. That's greed. That's going with, that's sometimes, I'll give you an example. Sometimes people, they have their own business, yes? And they're successful in their businesses. They do good in what they do. And then they go out and they're with some friends. And the friend tells them, I'm doing cash advance. Oh, I'm doing real estate. And suddenly this guy's he's making money. Habibi, you have your parnasa. You know what you're doing. You're mastering what you're doing. And you think that just because this guy just bought a penthouse in Miami, that means that this is what you need to do. And suddenly you take upon yourself more burden. You let go of what you do, of when you know what, okay, your business, and you start investing in something you don't know. Just because what? Just because you saw that guy that he's successful at it. So now you're married with a path that's really not yours. And you let go of your own path. So two problems. You let go of what you own, of what's yours, and you invest yourself in something that's not yours. That's greed. That's the greed. That being married, that's going with the wife of someone else.
It's greed by way of ta'ava.
No, 1 second. That's greed.
Just explain both of them. You just explained two things. Like why did he decide to go into another business? Is that the ta'ava that he saw someone else, the ta'ava that he had?
It could have been born because of the ta'ava. But the ta'ava, if we explain it separate.
We explained it separately. It has a proper meaning to it.
There's an overlap. Exactly. That stand on it on its own. In that case, there could be definitely an overlap. Absolutely. Right. Now, the ta'ava is what? The ta'ava is what?
I want to go start this business so I can do.
Put no. It's already it's too complex of an idea for ta'ava. Simple ta'ava. Okay. I love ketchup. I just love it. Okay. In the beginning, you eat and you tasted the ketchup, but the ketchup became something important to you. So now you're going to put it in a lot of food. Yeah. Eventually, the ketchup that was kosher will lead you to want to taste ketchup that's not kosher. Or it can lead you to see food, okay, that has ketchup on it that is not kosher, and the ketchup makes you fall for it. That's ta'ava. That's ta'ava. Chachamim also teach us that the ta'ava can be why a husband and wife must be tznuim. There should be tzniut between them, because if not, the sight can lead to thoughts. In the beginning, it can be considered. In the beginning, it can be considered pure. It's okay. It's mutar. Yes, but because it's from a tava, so it starts with what? With a moment of purity, and eventually it grows into something that's impure, and then something that's asur. So Chachamim tell us that a Baal ve'isha must have tzniut between them, so that this does not turn into a ta'ava that's uncontrollable. Clear? The two practical. Okay.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Tzadika. Okay.
Thank you.
Pasuk Lamed. לא יבוזו לגנב כי יגנוב למלא נפשו כי ירעב. לא יבוזו לגנב כי יגנוב. A ganav, right? A thief that steals will not be shamed. למלא נפשו כי ירעב. For stealing, because when he steals to appease his nefesh, his hunger, to fill his nefesh, right? Because of his hunger. So says the Gaon, Klomar, even though, now Shlomo HaMelech is now making a comparison. He says the ta'ava and the greed both are worse than the ganav. Worse than somebody that goes and steals. Why? He says, even though the ganav, the person that steals, zera meod, is very bad. But the ganav, when he steals, it's not destructive like the greed is and like the ta'ava is. Why? Because the ganav, when he steals, lemale nafsho yirav. Why does he steal? A ganav, somebody a thief, steals for two reasons. Or because he has a desire of what he needs something, he wants something, right? He wants it. Or because he needs it. Or because he's hungry, right? He says people just don't steal. I mean, unless obviously they have this kleptomania sickness, but that's something else. But a normal person, Khalila, he only goes, he steals, or because he needs it. And he has no choice. He's not going to eat, or because he feels that he wants it. Yeah, or because he wants, or because he needs. But both are motives that have some logic to it. Now you can argue, so because you want it, that's logical, yes? If everybody has it, I need it, I want it. That's not a need. Obviously, then you have thieves that go and they're mechushbanim. Yeah, but the normal, the thief that, the ganav, the normal ganav, or he's in a despair, he steals because he's in despair, or because he needs to be at a certain level like everybody. We're not talking about sophisticated, what they call it, Arsène Lupin, or whatever his name is, like this famous that stole the jewels in the middle of. I'm not talking about these people. So he says it's coming from what? Lemale nafsho, okay? Lemale nafsho, or to fill in his nefesh. Ki yirav. So it's all to satisfy his nefesh. Or ki yirav is what is ki yirav? So that because he's hungry, right? He has hunger. That means he needs to live. Is the chayut? Is his chayut? Is his life? Says the Gaon. Even though both of them, right, to satisfy his need, what he wants, or to satisfy his needs of what he really needs to be alive, both do have some roots of ta'ava, right? And some roots of chemda, because what do you want? What do you want like everybody else? Because you look at everybody else. And why do you need, and why you have the hunger? Because you have a desire, right? But he doesn't live by his ta'ava, and then he doesn't live by his greed. It's just roots that are by everybody, right? And it leads him to steal. His action is not worse, and the collateral damage is not as bad as somebody that lives and fuels his ta'ava or fuels his greed. ונמצא ישלם שבעתיים, פסוק ל"א. Now, when he gets caught, right, he will have to pay a sevenfold. Et kol hon beto yiten. And he ends up giving up everything that he owns to pay back. because he has to pay back more than what he stole. Somebody that steals and he's caught, he has to pay kefil. He has to pay double. Right? But somebody that steals and damages, or he steals and it's lost from him, he has to pay 4 or 5. Dalit v'chamisha. Say, if it's say is let's say in English. Not a goat, a goat.
Say is a sheep, no?
A sheep. A sheep is 4, and if it's a cow, it's 5. Why? Why is the difference between 4 and 5? Yeah, because the Gemara says, Chachamim say, because the cow, you use it to work, right?
Choresh.
To be choresh. And they say no. They say the other one is it says another Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, I think he says, why they say it's 4? Because they say you carry it, so you humble yourself, right? So you pay less than if it's a cow. That the cow, it's you know, it's but either way, you pay kefil of the gezela, right? So if you steal, you pay double. But if you damage what you stolen, what you have stolen, right? You pay double of the double, right? And depending on whether it's something that is used for work, for your work or not, you will pay 4 or 5, right? If it has been damaged. So it's an introduction to what he wants to say, because he's going to calculate the 7. So he says, La ganav yesh tikun. It's like the ganav, okay? Although it's true that he stole, although it's true that he got caught, although it's true that there are some roots of desire and a little greed, but he has a tikkun. He can fix himself in a fairly easy way, even though it's very bad. How? Shivatayim. He can pay a 7-fold. Why? Because you have the kefel, right, which is 2, and in case it's he stole something of your work, it's another 5. So that's 7. That's how you get to 7. 5 plus 2, right? So he pays 7-fold. He can pay up to 7-fold of what he has stolen. But he says the Gan also, he says there are, when he's caught and he pays his price, the person that's the thief just did a tikkun of the 7 types of thieves there are possible. Why? What are the 7 types of thieves? Somebody that stole and gives back what he has stolen. That's one type of thief. Then there's somebody that steals but doesn't give back the item. He pays for the item. That's the second thief.
How's that a thief?
Because he stole.
He stole it. He stole it, got caught, and just says, "I'll pay for it."
Yeah. Yes. Now, and if he cannot pay, what happens? He becomes an eved, right? Then you have the person that steals and gets caught that he stole. He has to pay kefel. That's another level, right? Because he got caught. The first 2 didn't get caught. The first one stole and decided to give it back. Because the other guy stole and says, "You know what? I stole from you. How much is it? It's what, 100? Here is your 100." But he keeps the item. The third type is what? He steals and he doesn't say that he stole, but he gets caught. So he has to pay double. Then you have a fourth type, somebody that steals and the item got damaged or stolen by him. He has to pay 4 or 5. Right? That's another level of stealing. The fifth type is somebody that steals from somebody that's holding a collateral, bala pikadon, right? So Shimon is holding a collateral, and George go and steals the pikadon from that's another level. And then you have the person that's holding the collateral himself that decides to steal. That's another level. That's 6. And 7, a person that's still in that's agonev ish, a person that steals an individual. That's another level. So says the Gaon, when a person is doing a tikkun on the gneva, he's doing a tikkun on all 7. He can do a tikkun on all 7. When the person pays the price of his action, because he's fixing his action, and his action is the root of 7 different versions of thieves. By doing a tikkun, right, of the gneva, he basically fixes the root, and by that fixes all 7 different possibilities of thieves that are dormant within him. So he says that's one explanation. He pays the 7, meaning he's doing a tikkun for the 7. Another explanation is the explanation we said earlier. Like I said, he pays the 7 because eventually he can be in a situation where he pays 7, right? He stole something, an item like an ox, or he stole something that is an essential tool of work of the person, and that tool got broken or stolen from him, and he was caught. So he has to pay kefel on the fact that he stole, and he has to pay 5 times because of what he thinks. So that total of 7. He says another way to understand this pasuk. Shiv'atayim means twice shiva. Yes.
No, nothing.
Sheva is once. Shiv'atayim is twice shiva. That it can be understood twice shiva. Meaning 2 times 7, and 2 times 7 is what is 14. So he says you have dalet is 4, right? That's one type. He is right is 5. That's another type, depending on what he stole, right? So 4 and plus 5 is 9. Then you have kefel. Then you have the kefel is 2, right? That's how 9 plus 2 is 11. And if Sambiat Bakeren, if he actually took the keren itself, right? Plus again he double counts it is 3 because you have the keren plus the responsibility that comes once you're going to be caught from the keren. Even though the kefel in itself is one of its own, but the fact that the second you touch the keren, right? The keren is considered as 3 because you have the keren plus the kefel. So inside the keren, there's 3 of its own, and the keren stands on its own. You understand what he wants to say?
No.
The moment you stole,
counting the kefan twice. In mind.
He is, but he's saying that inside the keren there is already the potential of the kefel. So the keren is never considered as 1; it's already considered as 3. But the kefel is a knaf that stands on its own. It's just that it's based on the keren. So now you have 11 plus 3 is 14. And he explains like this. He says, "Why do you find 3 in the keren? You have the one that steals and gives back what he took. Number 2, if he stole and he cannot give back, he has to be a eved. right? And number three, if he stole and he pays with money, right? So these are the three ways also of the keren. You understand what I'm saying? So put the kefel aside. Put the kefel aside, right? You have the keren paid back as is, keren paid back with money, and keren paid back with avdut. Right? So you have 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus kefel 2 is 11. Plus the three ways of paying the keren, right? As the keren, money or avdut is 3. It's a total of 14. That's shiv'atayim. That's the twice 14, twice 7. He says another shiv'atayim means shiv'atayim is that the tikkun of the ganav, that he has to go through 7 levels of Gehinam. And each level has 2 aspects to it, because it has the light aspect of the level and the more chamur and the more intense level of the level. Each level has 2 dimensions to it. The more lenient part of it and the more aggressive part of that level. So how many levels do you have in total of Gehinam? 14. Right? It's 7 levels. Each one have 2 dimensions. That's 14. And this is the punishment of the person who says have. What does it mean have? Take, havli. Let me grab, like let me take. When a person is like the dog, the dog says have, right? He barks. The person that says take, greed, that's I want to take, right? I need to take. Have is 7. Hey, bet. Have 7 and 7 is 14. The person that steals because he wants to always grab, his tikkun is in the 14 layers of Gehinam, which is the 7 levels. And et kol hon beto yiten, he's going to end up paying from everything that he owns, right? Because he stole 10 and he has to give back 140. So he says, but in this case, what did he lose? He just now went through 7 medure Gehinam, 7 levels of Gehinam with the 14 layers of it. It says, et kol hon beto iten, it goes back to Olam Haba. It says now, not only that he had to, he pays through the 7 cleansing level of cleansing of Gehinam, but because he stole from his friend, what he owns in Olam Haba is not transferred to his friend.
Wow.
That's what Chachamim mean in Masechet Chagiga. It says it Hayev Rasha, the Rasha that was judged and condemned, Notel Chelko veChelek Havero b'Gehinam. Not only that he takes his Chelek in Gehinam for what he's done, but he also takes the Chelek of the Gehinam of the one he harmed. Zachat Tzaddik, and the Tzaddik is Zoche. Why? Notel Chelko veChelek Havero b'Gan Eden. Because not only that he takes his Chelek in Gan Eden, but he takes the Chelek of the one who harmed him. So the Ganav, that's why the Ganav, right? The Chachamim tell us what his tikkun is. His tikkun is the Gilgul. He has to come back. Right? That's how bad the Ganav is. Not only that he pays in Gehinam, but he pays also for the person he stole from. Not only he loses his Gan Eden, his Olam Haba, but right, that he doesn't have Olam Haba, but his Olam Haba that he had now is transferred to the one he stole from. Right? So what is Takana? His Takana is to come back to this world as a Gilgul. Says the Gaon, as bad as the Ganav is, he still has the Takana. Because he comes back, he can still fix by coming back. Something the person that's consumed by greed or ta'ava or desire does not have.
Oh.
So then the next pasuk is going to go and hit the Baal ta'ava and the Baal ahemda. But I think we're going to leave that for next year. This is heavy enough. So Be'ezrat Hashem, yeah, we did the pasuk. We did the pasuk Lamed Bet.
We did until Lamed Bet, or we did Lamed Bet? Yeah,
we did Lamed Bet. Yeah.
We did Lamed Bet?
Yeah. No, we didn't do Lamed Bet. No, we didn't do Lamed Bet. Mechila, we did Lamed Aleph. You're right.
We stopped Lamed Aleph.
Yes, we stopped Lamed Aleph. Any questions?
We're stopping at a point of understanding of a message that there's no going back. There's no takana, not no going back. There's no takana for the chemda and the ta'ava that a person acted on. Is that where we're leaving off on?
Yes.
We can prevent ourselves.
Vadai. No, we're talking about somebody that is consumed by it. There's somebody.
Right. We can prevent and protect ourselves, but
That's right.
But once we're consumed by it and we succumb to it,
there's no takana.
There's no takana.
That's what he's going to say.
Wow. Okay.
Be'ezrat Hashem. Beseder. Good?
Mm-hmm.
Be'ezrat Hashem, all right.